Okay, Brad, it's time to get you going. Let's start the teardown process. So this is where we begin. I'm going to get your movement out of your watch and start to get going here. All right. All right, so here we go. Right on. So I usually start with a few items that are easily removed while the watch is still in the case. So that involves your winding weight. Looks pretty good. Okay, some of the other winding components. Ooh, factory tight. That's nice to see. You had told me that this watch had not been serviced since you bought it in '81, which is amazing. So cool. So we get to see the factory here. This is factory goodness. Okay, so a little bit of haze, a little bit of rust here on your reduction wheel. That sits in a jewel, but that has certainly seen a little bit of rust. So we're going to try and clean that up before we go too far. Okay. Here's your winding ball lever. There we go. Get everybody in the cleaner. I'll take a closer look at that. You can see here you've got some discoloration. I'm going to take a very close look at these two bushings just to be sure. Now, I can see a little fleck of something there. Sometimes those can go a little south, so we're gonna be super careful about that. Actually, let me take all the power out of your mainspring here. Seeing a little bit of water damage, you know. It's just one of those things, you know. These are watches that see use, and you certainly wore yours. Atmospheric moisture can get in. If you went into the water with it or took a shower, you know, it's always a possibility. The seals do fail over time because they're just made of rubber. The rubber does change. Come on. Boy, these guys can be tough. Come on. All right. I should just use Rotico every time. Boink. And then it's out. Out and easy. It's in the cleaner. All right. Let's go ahead and take off your balance. Take a close look at that. Make sure it's happy. Got a small piece of dust or debris. Something's on there. Unexpected. Okay. Alright, well now we can get your movement out of your case. Get your case retaining ring. Let's go ahead and take your stem out. Okay, that looks pretty good. You got your washer and your stem fully intact. No rust down in here. Sometimes you see these springs are so badly rusted that they're just such a mess. Okay, but that looks pretty good. We'll come back to that in just a moment. Let's go ahead and get your, see that beautiful dial. Look at that. Whoa. Man, that has been worn. That's really great. But your dial has survived so nicely. It looks really good. Okay, we need your stem back. Your hands are beautiful. Not hazy. Just looks really good. We'll leave it just like that. A little bit of haze, you know, water accumulation inside the movement will lead this to haze up just a touch, but we can usually get rid of that fairly easily. It's just a really light surface touch will take care of that for sure. I think we're already a lot better, just like that. All right, we'll continue to look more closely at those as we go. Doesn't take much. On a good watch, it really doesn't take a whole lot to get it looking really, really sharp. Okay. Let's go and get your dial in the hands. There's your second hand. With its beautiful white loom. Looks so nice. There we go. There's your minute hand. And hour hand. Looks good. Loom is perfect. Perfect, perfect. Okay. Now we can take off your dial. Now, there's no question, of course, that this is original because it's your watch and you know the history all the way from day one. However, it's always still fun to look to see the date, which is not on the back. Well, that's unfortunate. That's okay. They stopped doing it at some point, and it seems that this is in that realm of no date. But we know the story, so that's okay. All right, so here we are. Very bare movement. Now we can start with the breakdown. First thing we do, of course, is take the train of wheels. So that involves your ratchet wheel, which of course runs your mainspring, winds your mainspring. Okay. I'm going to check your... Oh my goodness. Woo! That is floppiness. We are going to jewel that lower and upper mainspring arbor port. Make that absolutely 100%. Make this watch last forever. Ooh, sticky. Oh my goodness. Boy, that's warm. Okay. So, we are certainly doing the right thing here. Here's your fourth wheel. And your third wheel. Let's take off your rest of your escapement here. Okay. Your escape. Your lever. We're going to take a close look at that, of course.
What was that doing there?
Okay. Wow. Whoa. That is a lot of your mainspring grease, S2 lubricant, has come out and is now residing on your main plate and has worn. Whew. All right, so that's why we jewel things, because that is a bit of a mess. But that's okay. That's not unexpected. It's just part of the process. All right, let's take off your center wheel cock here. Get that cleaned up. Okay, now we can flip your movement. Focus on your calendar side. Take a close look at all your pivots and all your jewels and all your bushings. It's part of this cleaning process that we do. Okay. Use a slightly smaller screwdriver in there. There we go. Just need to be under that C-clip, and then it lifts right off. Voila. All right, let's get your date wheel off. Okay, nice and shiny under here. That looks really nice. Very good. That's what I like to see them. These two separate plates here. Okay, there's one. And here's number two. Looks good. And we'll take your date wheel off. We'll go here. Okay, your spring. Good. All right, so now take your die shock out. Get the rotoco. Don't have to move anything around. Whoop, got it with it a got your gear. Yeah, still got a little lubrication under there. That's interesting. After all those years, still got lubrication. No. It's making things sticky. Okay, so now it's a few screws and we'll be done. Ready to start the jeweling process. Okay. Millennium Falcon. Okay. Got your retaining plate with a very cool. Let's see what we can do here. There we go. There's your minute wheel here. Can of pinion. Just let your center wheel go into the bath. Make sure that guy turns really easily. Sometimes these can get super tight. Look at that. That one's got some tightness. I'll have to take a very close look at this. Woo! So tight it popped right off. Alright. You go over here. Okay. Now, one screw holds down your entire keyless works. Very efficient of Seiko. Pop. That comes off. That's a complicated little guy right there. There we go. Are you stuck together? Seem to be. Shouldn't be. There we go. You go there. Go there. Here's your combination spring and yoke. Alright, you go there. And with that, we are done with the teardown of your 6309. Alright, next stop is some jeweling. We got a jewel this port right here, which we're going to do right now. And then we're off to the cleaners. Okay, we'll be back. Alright, Brad. Well, we are out of the cleaner and ready to start going back together. Done some work here. I want to point a few things out before we get going. So this small purple donut ring is your lower mainspring arbor port jewel. This will eliminate all of the issues associated with this main plate being made of brass, of course, and your barrel arbor, which is the thing that your mainspring winds around, being made of hard steel. It wears over time, and you can't do anything about it except to jewel that location, and it has a corresponding upper jewel, which used to be a bushing, and your bushing is pretty badly worn due to the fact that this lower component was worn, and so that jiggling around of the mainspring barrel is just the Achilles heel of the 6000 series of any Seiko, except for a few that are actually jeweled, and that's very rare. So we put a jewel in, two in fact. A couple other things, maybe just one other thing for now. Your mainspring is badly warped and has some just some wear issues. It's just old, and so now you have a new one. This is your barrel that holds that mainspring that all fits inside of here, all wound up. That's the power of your movement, and that's going to be new. So you're going to have good power for the operation of your movement. So just want to let you know about that. We'll get started in just a moment. Okay, so here we go. Let's get started getting you back together. Nice. All right, so now your wheels. So put your third wheel in. Get one final check over. Make sure everything is super clean and ready to fit back together. It's always good to do final checks just to be sure. Nothing lurking. It's going to thwart us. Come on. There we go. All right, let's look at your fourth wheel here. Looks good. Let's give it a tiny drop of lubrication on its shaft. Very nice. Okay, so with the 6309s, you have to put in the click before you can put on the bridge. There we go. Just like so. Okay. So now I like to lubricate the top of your barrel for your brand new jewel to rest on. Okay, now align all your pivots. Let's check the third wheel. Make sure everybody's properly aligned. Are you flat? Are you in? Yeah. Okay. Come on. Sometimes they fall and sometimes they don't. There we go. That's a good start. There we go. That's what we're looking for. That's where we want to be. Okay. It's interesting with the 6309, this bridge, there's no cutout, so you can sort of get a hold of the third wheel and manipulate it so it will go into its pivot. So you kind of have to just be sure that it's very flat to begin with, and that it's you do the right amount of manipulating, if you will, slight little movements to encourage it to find the hole. So you don't want to wrestle it. You certainly, there's a certain finesse to it, but If you're persistent and you're careful, eventually it will go. Okay, so now we can tighten down everybody. Very nice. All right. Now for your ratchet wheel. Okay, so let's go ahead with a bit of lubrication. Okay. All right, so now we flip the movement, and we've got some things to do on this side. So let's get those taken care of. I'm going to lubricate your center wheel here and put your cannon pinion in place. That's nice. It's good to hear that click. Okay, now we lubricate your escape wheel and your third wheel. Just like so. And now we put in your lower die shock jewel, just for your balance, so that when we drop your balance, it's supported on this side and ready to run. Okay, so I'm going to do this a little bit off to the side here. There we go. I'll be right back. Okay, that went pretty well. All right, so next we have to put in your pre-lubricated pallet fork. So that is here. You have to carefully lubricate those end stone jewels with a very small oiler, a very specific type of lubrication that has an important property of what's called shear thickening, or shear thinning, I'm sorry, it's the other way. So shear thinning is when you apply a stress, it lowers its viscosity. But when you stop applying that stress, it holds in place. And it keeps it from migrating throughout the movement and holds it there on the end stones to do its job, which is to lubricate the interaction between the pallet fork and the escape wheel. Oops. And you definitely don't want it going to places where it shouldn't be, which is a no-no. Migration of lubrication is a problem. Alright, so that is now ready to see some power. Everybody's looking really good. So let's go ahead and put your balance in. And then we will put your other die shock jewel in place. So let's see if we get some movement. Haha, look at that. Encouraging. Starting to go. It'll start to get faster and faster as we lock things in place. Right now it's pretty floppy because the upper jewel is missing, this one here, so we'll put that one in and we'll lock it down. This happens, of course, over here. Okay, Brad, well, I'm really happy with where the numbers are, so we're gonna get going on finishing constructing your movement. Next steps are to put the calendar parts and pieces back together, and your keyless works. So that's going to be next. So we'll start with the keyless works and move from there. All right. Okay. All right, here is your newly rebuilt crown and stem. That goes in. Very nice. Very nice. Okay. Good. Good, good, good. Excellent. Okay, now your calendar works can go together. Okay. Good. All right, now it's time for your Millennium Finger Falcon. Come on, stay flat. There we go. Okay, now we can put your jumper in place. That's good. And your date wheel comes next. Oop, come on. Gotta do the lubrication. Okay, that all looks good. And now for your retaining plates. Okay. Last screw here. That looks quite good. Okay. Right, so now we can put your day wheel back on. Okay. All right. Well, that is your movement put together. Next is going to be your dial and hands, and then we're going to get you recased and get you finished. All right. I'll be back. Okay, Brad. Well, this is the fun part. This is where we get to see things come together in a pretty special way. So what we have here is your nicely cleaned case. We have your insert, your spacer, your gasket, and your new crystal. So we're going to assemble all these. I've got one more piece here that we got to put together, and that is your bezel. Okay, so your bezel's here. So let's get all these pieces assembled to make your watch. All right, so put the case on the movement with nothing in other than the movement itself. Right, so now what we can do is put your stem in. Get that put in place and locked down. That's good. And now we'll go ahead and keep your movement in with this, your retaining ring, and your case back. So those pieces come together to get your movement. Perfect. Okay, good. Now your retaining ring can fit in. There we go. There we go. All right, so now your case back goes on. There's no gasket yet, but we'll get there. Okay, now that your movement's in place, what we can do, looks good. Make sure everybody's in the right spot. Just a second. Okay, just want to be sure. It's always a little tricky. Without things 100% back together, you want to make sure that everybody's nice and flat and happy. All right, so now we put your chapter ring in place. It should align perfectly, which it does. Sorry to all those people with modern Seikos out there without alignment, but get yourself a turtle and there'll be alignment galore. All right, so there's that. Okay, now your brand new lovely crystal. That then pushes straight down into your L-shaped gasket. Like so. And your gasket, or your crystal bezel. Let me go snap that in place. Okay, Brad, well, we're back from the snapper. Got your bezel installed, so let's go ahead and get your rotating bezel put on. So that just snaps right in place. There we go. Buttery, lovely clicks. Very nice. Okay, so that's it for your case. That's all back together. Last thing we really have to do is do your automatic winding components. Once we've got that, we are done with your service. So that's good. A couple more little steps here. All right, but we can do that with the movement in the case, of course. So we're good to go. Wow, such a nice looking watch. Okay, so let's get that taken care of. Here's your winding assembly. Doing its job. Right. Come on. You're supposed to stay there. Okay. And with that, we replace your winding weight. And as they say in England, Bob's your uncle. There we go. All right, so we need your case back seal. Okay, let's get that in place. All right, there we go. Case back is clean. There we go. All right. Well, Brad, this is now complete. So let's get a last little cleanup here, and we'll review all the stuff that we did, show you all your components that are coming back, and have a look. All right. Well, there is your very original, very nice 6309 7049 from 1981 that you purchased brand new. I would say it looks pretty close to that, although you've got this beautiful patina on your loom and your hands and your dial. Brand new crystal. All right, let's review what we did, just to go over things here. So this is your mainspring. That's the old one that's coming back. We had a few replacement parts, but nothing major here in the movement. You had your crystal, of course, your old gaskets. Here's your crown gasket, which was definitely past its sell-by date. That's your bushing for your upper mainspring arbor port. That is now a jewel. There's your old case back seal. And basically that is it. Seals, bushing, mainspring, you've got 2 new jewels in your movement. So now you're all set, ready to go. Hopefully another 30 plus year. Whoa, 40 years? Holy mackerel. 81? That can't be 40 years ago. There's no way. Yes, but it is. 40-year-old watch. Looks beautiful. I didn't do any polishing on your case. It's basically just been cleaned with a soft cloth and water. Your bezel turns really smoothly. You've got good solid clicks all the way around. The function of your watch is as good as it has been. You've got nice threads on your crown. Day and date turn over just fine. Let's watch your date click over here. And there we go. Now your day. Perfect. Okay, let's check your hand alignment, which is about as good as it can get. All right, so let's check your quick date while we're here. 1 click out. 6, 7, 8, 9, all the way around, of course. And here's your day. All right. Well, Brad, thank you so much for the opportunity to work on your watch. I really enjoyed it. I love these turtles. They're just so great, so classic. I'll be in touch and we'll get your watch back to you. Thanks again. All right, Brad. Well, I remember that I didn't actually get a chance to show you your numbers. This is where we're ending up. No beat error, not much rate issue. Mid 230s. I mean, this is fantastic for one of these 6309s. It's really running fantastically well. So I'm happy with the performance at this point. So we're gonna do some final checks and get this back to you. All right. Thanks a lot.